I've mentioned in a few other videos of mine recently that the purpose of my channel is to give ideologues, well, political and religious, as hard a time as I'm capable of and know how to. And so any research that I do or any Google, whatever I do, any kind of scholarly work I do, is only to shove it in people's faces because I know they don't listen, because I know they're all reactionary and not factual. So unreasonable, and anyone who is antisocial or economic basically is who my target. Okay, so here we go with America First. I'm going to look into that today, see what's really going on. I've covered this in my book, but I can't remember everything I wrote because nobody ever read it and never took it up with me to discuss what I said. So, America First refers to a populist political theory in the United States that emphasizes the fundamental notion of putting America first, which generally involves disregarding global affairs and focusing solely on domestic policy in the United States. Okay, so populism is a range of political stances that emphasize the idea of common people. Political stances that emphasize the idea of common people and often position the group in opposition. Okay, so and often position this group in opposition to a perceived elite group. Is this why MAGA targets gays, transgenders, and whomever? Democrats? Is that populism? Anti-democrats, or should I say demon rats? Anti-libtards, liberals? Anti-trans, anti-gay? Are those all examples of populism? I'll read the rest of this. If it is frequently associated with anti-establishment and anti-political sentiment. Well, a lot of people would say that Donald is anti-establishment, but I would say that he's actually worse than the establishment. He's there to cater to his wealthy friends and colleagues, along with corporate interests. That's what I would say. So, I don't see how America First is populist. Well, I remember reading that America First, it's rooted in anti-Semitism. Now, that could be wrong. I don't know. But I wrote that book way back in 2017 and 18, which generally involves disregarding global affairs and focusing solely on domestic policy. It is a type of public policy overseeing administrative decisions that are directly related to all issues and activity within a state's borders. And so that would involve, there's also internal policy. It is a type of policy overseeing administrative decisions that are directly related to all issues and activity within it. It differs from Okay. Domestic policy covers a wide range of areas, including business, education, energy, healthcare, law enforcement. Well, I don't really know what to say about that because it's only saying what it involves. I only know that MAGA is very anti-abortion, anti-gay, anti-trans. Not really. There's also transgender in sports. Nothing really important. All I can really say there is that the MAGA doesn't have its priorities straightened out, or it's way out of whack. They don't care. They focus on all these minorities and demographics of people they don't like, instead of economic problems like unemployment and shit. I don't know. This generally denotes policies of non-interventionalism, American nationalism, denotes politics. Okay, so foreign policy of, so, okay, non-involvement in foreign relations or in other countries. Now, a lot of MAGA would credit Donald for not starting any new wars, but as Destiny and a few others have repeatedly mentioned, that there hasn't been any new wars in decades. No, Donald didn't start any new wars, but he didn't end any either, while no new wars have been started for decades, so that every president within that time frame are also to be credited for it. As I would often say that, well, Donald can't have that credit because that's not really a valid standard for electing a president. How can it be? Is that the only thing? Especially when when MAGA is anti-everyone. Everyone that's not them. And not within their tribe, I guess. If you're against them, if you're not for them, you're against them. It's all black and white. And they don't care about facts or nuance or anything. They say it, and that's how it is to them. So, and there's also the reality, or people have argued constantly, many non-MAGAs have pointed out that Donald is responsible for far more drone attacks than Barack Obama, which for some reason people like to turn to Barack Obama to pick on in defense of Donald. A contrast fallacy, which is all too common with MAGA. American nationalism, civic, ethnic, and cultural or economic influences found in the United States. Essentially, it indicates the aspects of that characterize and distinguish the United States as an autonomous political community. It indicates that aspects of states is the term often explains efforts to reinforce the natural. Well, the problem is that is America everything that they claim it to be? How is America a great country? Okay, it has more written here. Essentially, it indicates the aspects that characterize and distinguish the United States as an autonomous political community. Now, is that good or bad? What does this mean, autonomous political community? Because America is very divided. But the reality is Democrats would say that MAGA is not patriotic, while I would say that they're only fanatical of Donald Trump, not America, with all their stupid merchandise and flag waving and hanging all over the place. They gotta have this thing hanging everywhere and on their clothes and on their hats and whatever. That's fanaticism, not patriotism. That's not nationalism either. Meanwhile, MAGA would say that while the Democrats are these communist demon rats, Satanists, pedophiles, whatever, that's not even mature. That's psychotic. That's just brainwashed. That's just buzzwords. That's all that is. So, meanwhile, Democrats, they're the lesser of evils, definitely, but I wouldn't, well, they're all about equality and everything, which, well, I don't think either side really qualifies as anything. The United States is an autonomous political community. I still don't really know what that means. America is so divided. How can it be? They aren't even political, most of them. They're just psychos. They worship Donald. They can say they don't, but they do. Marjorie says that she worships God. I mean, that's not American. That's not even political. So, The term often explains efforts to reinforce its national. So basically, so far, I know I haven't read much, but I've drawn the conclusion that America First isn't even the problem. The problem is that nobody really even is America First. It's just an empty slogan, a buzzword that MAGA likes to throw around. Not the Democrats, the MAGA people. The term often explains efforts to reinforce the national identity. What would that identity be? A God-blessed nation? That's antithetic to the Constitution. A land of opportunity for who? The wealthy? Who? If America is a land of opportunity, then why the desperation for Donald, or even someone who isn't Donald? Why is it a tug of war between the lesser of evils if America is the land of opportunity? Why this constant complaining about inflation and such if America is the land of opportunity? And what does anyone intend to do about anything about that? I could offer, or I could suggest anti-inflation credit cards. What would you guys all say to that? Probably not much, right? Yeah, I think I've read enough about that. So moving on here. The term was coined by the President Woodrow Wilson in his 1916 campaign that pledged to keep America neutral in World War I. So this is all about a war. Okay. Is America currently involved in a war? There are troops in other countries, I think. But America isn't at war with anyone. There's not a world war. People are paranoid of World War III, but is that likely? Well, it could be more likely now that Donald's back in office, but I don't know. But there was no world war going on when Donald, that's what they credit him for. So this thing is America First. At least their promotion of it, MAGA's promotion of it, is based on a false premise, because there's no war in effect. There's no war being fought in America. What? A more non-interventionist approach gained prominence in the interwar period. It was also advocated by the America First Committee. Okay, so an American isolationist pressure group against the United States entry into... Yeah, that's all this is. So America First doesn't even have anything to do with what's going on today. It's all about avoiding participation in a world war. There's no world war going on today. So this is all a false premise. MAGA doesn't know what it's fucking talking about. Okay, now Donald Trump used the slogan as, emphasizing the U.S.'s withdrawal from international treaties and organization. What does that have to do with the World War? Media critics have derided Trump's use of... I think I clicked on a video from The Thinking Atheist last night, and I think this is what he was talking about. I can't remember everything he said. I had to listen to him again, but he basically repeated or explained that a lot of MAGAs don't even know or don't even acknowledge other countries or something like that. That's paraphrasing what he said. So, do I really need to go further? I think this sentence alone debunks MAGA's usage of this slogan. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. If I need to, for whatever reason, I'll go further into it, I guess.